Hey guys, LevelCap here, and welcome to another episode of This Week in Gaming. The performance issues that have been plaguing Battlefield 5 for several months might finally be getting fixed. The game's next update is scheduled to launch by the 27th of this month. It adds a new map, ROYALE, and about 10 pages worth of tweaks, balance changes, and bug fixes. If you missed my coverage of the new map, be sure to check out the videos I did last week. There's a full review of ROYALE and a ton of raw gameplay to check out. A new mode called Outpost was added to Battlefield 5 to a very mixed reception. Some people like it, some people really do not like it. I did a full review of it alongside my first impressions of the new MAB-38 SMG that was added in the latest Tides of War update. The next map being added to Battlefield 5 after ROYALE is Marita. It debuts sometime in July and will be the first infantry-only map. Hopefully the patch coming by the 27th makes some meaningful improvements to Battlefield 5's performance. DICE have the unfortunate habit of saying an update will make everything better only for it to get halfway there while also breaking something else. Past Battlefield titles have all been improved over time with their updates, and so far Battlefield 5 has been making progress. But progress has been slow and sorely needed for Battlefield 5. This stuttering issue has been going on for months, much to the frustration of countless players across all platforms. E3 was full of release date info for a bunch of highly anticipated games. First up, CYBERPUNK 2077, aka Keanu Reeves' best friend simulator, will launch on April 16, 2020. It's a sci-fi open-world FPS RPG set in the fictional dystopian Night City. CYBERPUNK is set to be one of the most ambitious single-player RPGs since the likes of Fallout 3, Skyrim, Deus Ex, or Mass Effect. As such, it's quickly gathered a big following, especially after 48 minutes of gameplay was revealed last year. New gameplay from an updated demo of the game was shown behind closed doors at E3, which will be available to the public at PAX West and online after August 30th. Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order launches on November 15th. Little was known about the game until 2 months ago when a teaser trailer was released. The devs launched a full gameplay trailer at E3 showcasing the game's combat and story elements. It looks like a more challenging Star Wars game than we've seen from past titles like The Force Unleashed. Doom Eternal is set to rip and tear your minds apart on November 22nd. The sequel to 2016's massive hit/reboot of the franchise looks equally bombastic. It gives you some new toys to play with like a grappling hook and shoulder-mounted launcher. It'll also include a totally new multiplayer mode called Battle Mode. Basically, 2 demon players go up against 1 Doomslayer. Whether or not the game will include the traditional deathmatch mode like the 2016 game isn't clear. The game's multiplayer was fine, but didn't really embody the fast-paced action of the main campaign, leaving many players with the feeling that it was tacked on. Battle Mode looks like a lot of care has been put into it to make it a fun experience. Both Halo Infinite and the next generation Xbox console, currently called Project Scarlet, will launch in holiday 2020. A new trailer for Infinite made it clear that the game is targeting next generation console hardware. And while it's not quite on par with what you'd expect from a high-end or even mid-tier gaming PC, it's a notable upgrade from 2015's Halo 5. The next box will support ray tracing, 8K, 120 FPS output, and a new solid-state drive for faster load times or completely obliterating load times altogether. It's also going to allow the hard drive to function as virtual memory for games, allowing developers probably a lot more flexibility in not having to restrict their games based on the console's limited memory requirements. Dying Light 2 is now targeting a spring 2020 release window. The E3 trailer showcases a much denser and detailed zombie-infested world to explore than the original game from 2015. The FPS parkour melee-focused game released to a mild reception and slowly grew a strong following as DLC and free updates added to the game's content and story. Dying Light 2 was initially revealed last year. It will include new choice-based mechanics and has you playing as a character infected with the zombie virus. The game's choice system will have sweeping effects on what areas of the game players can explore on a given playthrough. It'll encourage players to play through the game multiple times to see everything it has to offer. Gameplay of Control debuted at E3, showcasing the game's combat and supernatural elements. It's the next game from Alan Wake and Quantum Break developers Remedy. Like those games, Control leans heavily into its characters and setting. You play as Jesse Faden, director of the Federal Bureau of Control, the government agency tasked with investigating the game's supernatural events. You fight your way through their headquarters, which has been overtaken by a mysterious force known as the Hiss. The building has been turned into a madhouse of shattered realities and bizarre physics. The gameplay looks like a blend of Quantum Break's superpowered abilities and Alan Wake's more grounded gunplay. It releases on August 27th for all platforms. Apex Legends Season 2 begins next month on July 2nd. Called Battle Charge, it adds a new hero, Watson. She can place an electrified fence that prevents enemies from passing through it. Her ultimate ability, Interception Pylon, destroys enemy projectiles like grenades and recharges friendly shields. Season 2 also brings a new battle pass to the game with challenges players can complete to level up and unlock new content. Competitive players will be happy to hear Season 2 includes a ranked mode with 6 tiers, special matchmaking, and ranked base bonuses. Finally, a new weapon, the energy-based L-Star LMG, is being added to Apex. It will only be available in airdrops, so it's sure to pack some serious punch. Fallout 76 has a new mode currently available as a sneak peek of sorts. Called Nuclear Winter, it's essentially a battle royale mode that pits you against 51 other players. It features the usual ring pushing players together, scavenging for weapons and gear, as well as creatures roaming the area. It's available until June 17th. The game itself is currently free to try. Hunt Showdown is also doing a free weekend promotion. The PvP survival shooter borrows some elements from the Battle Royale genre, but takes things back to 1895, and throws in some Lovecraftian horror just for kicks. You fight your way through the nightmarish creatures to collect trophies from a boss, all while trying to avoid getting killed by other players. It's a pretty intense and interesting game. It's available on PC and Xbox One. Hitler's zombie army just won't die. Zombie Army 4 Dead War has been revealed as the next installment in the Zombie Army franchise by Rebellion, devs of Sniper Elite. It's got all the usual trappings of a zombie army game. Hordes of the undead, mini-bosses, big bosses, and of course, slow-motion bullet cams. A remaster of all 3 previous games was released a while back that bundled all 3 games into one package and updated the first 2 with the 3rd game's engine. Overall, they're pretty solid zombie shooters and actually offer some unique gameplay thanks to the Sniper Elite-inspired sniping mechanics. Microsoft are really batting for the fences with Microsoft Flight Simulator. Using a combination of satellite data and AI, the game simulates major cities and landmarks like the Dubai Palm Tree Islands and the Pyramids of Egypt. It touts being able to fly anywhere on the planet. If the trailer is anything to go by, it might be worth taking their word for it. The visuals are absolutely stunning, and it seems like it could be setting itself up to be the best flight simulator of all time. Steam's in-home streaming can now be used remotely. The feature has been available for some time now and lets you stream your games directly from your PC to any supported device on your local network. The device list was greatly expanded when Valve launched mobile apps for both Android and iOS devices recently. Until then, only other computers on dedicated Steam Link devices could use the service. Until now, you haven't been able to play remotely. The feature is being renamed Steam Remote Play and is still considered experimental. That said, Steam's streaming solution is regarded as one of the best options for game streaming. Assuming your internet connection can keep up with it, Remote Play should actually work pretty well. In our final story this week, AMD have finally thrown their hat back into the GPU ring. Their next-generation graphics cards, the Radeon RX 5700 and RX 5700 XT, launch on July 7th. The 5700 costs $379 and is on par with the NVIDIA RTX 2060. The $449 5700 XT packs a little more punch to compete with the RTX 2070. Both cards are within $50 of the competition. AMD is positioning them as a slightly better performance option at basically the same price point than NVIDIA's cards. That said, PC hardware enthusiasts were expecting much more dramatic performance figures, coupled with more budget-friendly pricing. And that wraps it up for today's episode of This Week in Gaming. Let us know in the comments what you thought the most interesting story was, or if you think we missed something worth mentioning. Thanks for watching, guys, and we'll see you next time. This is Level Cap, signing out.